Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas, where today we're going to start a new series. Now I'm not too sure how long it's going to run for, but a new series of Alex T's game. I think this is the latest, not exactly his new game because there's already at least one expansion out. Machine Gods of the Noxian Empire. That's Alex T of blackoath Entertainment fame. We're going to start playing a new run of it. I don't know, like I've guesstimated around 10 episodes it might go to, because it's an exploration. It can be done several ways. So as most of Alex T's games can be ran as a group, as a cooperative, solo cooperative, i.e. GM-less, or as a solo. And he has rules within his books for all of those three different concepts of how to play the game. So we are going to, of course, play this solo. And in this solo format, it basically lays out as an open world exploration type game, a hex crawler, but with a grid. You can have it as a standard game with a standard type of premise, but we are going to be playing Machine Gods of the Noxian Empire. So, to start off with, you may not know about Machine Gods, and so let me tell you the premise, and then we'll go through creating a character in this episode, and then we will begin the actual exploring of the world next episode. So, Machine Gods. The premise is we are in a post-apocalyptic world. It is described as post-apocalyptic feudal role-playing. And so, many years ago, generations ago, so this is all going to be from memory, so we'll see how good it's sat as a game is sat in my psyche. So generations ago, there was an apocalypse, and there is no longer any records of what occurred during the apocalypse. Humanity reached a golden age. Things were good for humanity, but like all things, it came to an end. We do not know what the end was. What survived the end were various AI constructs, or various artificial constructs that survived and protected the humanity that was left, and preserved the humanity that was left. And so what we remain with now is the majority of the world at large is a wasteland. People have forgotten, so we have an inkling of a memory of the Golden Age. We can see signs of the Golden Age, but the Golden Age and how the Golden Age functions has gone. We are protected in enclaves by a variety of different AI manifestations, constructs. These are the Machine Gods. The Machine Gods protect humanity in cities. Across the Noxian Expanse is the expanse where we will explore. And I'm going to look this bit up because it was quite cool. The cities, or the conclaves, are the Thousand Spires. There are basically a variety of AIs, constructs, that protect their people in a city-state. And these city-states might go at war with each other. There may be some forms of either direct conflict or indirect political conflict amongst these city-states. Now, between these city-states is a wasteland, and that would be the Noxian Expanse in this location. And within that wasteland, there are remnants of the old world. Now, this form of technology, the old world technology, is operated by, so not only do the AIs run, so it's not like all humanity is a slave to the AI, it's more feudal. So we have the peasant, the low caste, who would be indentured slaves, but the indentured slaves are not to the AI, they are to the feudal lords who run those city-states under the governance of the AI. So the AI runs like a king of the city-state, organising where things are going, how resources will be spent to try and maintain that civilised state, with various different humans playing their machinations underneath, with feudal lords directing the governance. Now, the feudal lords lead because they understand, to an extent, technology, but technology is addressed like some form of religious aspect. It's magic. It's a thing that can do a job. There are neural interfaces that we have, nanite probes, we have various different things that hologram. So the AIs can often represent themselves in a holographic image as a representation to then tell people what to do. So we have a mix within the world of a feudal sort of almost Pendragon-esque, but a slightly lower grade, more Middle Ages even than Pendragon would be, sort of structure, and with a magic tier which is technology, and the technology is advanced technology, but they don't understand why. Now, where does the advanced technology come from? And that's where our character comes in. We are reclaimers. So the player characters would be, in whatever the game is, the first introduction of a player character. You could try out playing other characters if you wanted the political machinations within a high technology, feudal type environment. You could play that. It was the same thing as with Across 1,000 Dead Worlds. There's a whole series of R&D that you could play on what was it called, Kramer Station, where you could play that as R&D, sort of the aliens type machinations of trying to progress on Kramer, but that's not presented in 1,000 Dead Worlds, and that's not presented in Machine Gods of the Noxian Empire. It is the Reclaimers. As a Reclaimer, you are a mostly standalone, autonomous person who would do work for the feud lords and possibly the AIs within the city-states to go out into the wastelands and reclaim the technology that's found there. You will explore the wastelands in our game. We will explore the wastelands to try and reclaim technology and take that back to sell as a perpetual cycle. This is what we do. We explore, we scavenge, we understand that the technology is not necessarily magic. It's not necessarily high-end magic. There is something about it that as a reclaimer you understand innately, and that's what we will portray within our solo game of the Machine Gods of the Noxian Empire. And Alex T, if I got any of that wrong, please put me right in the comments below, because Alex often watches most of the things that people do. If you want to do a video and get Alex to watch it, do a video of his games. He pays you much respect to actually watch what you do, which I think is, for somebody who is as busy as he is to be respected. So we're going to make a character for, also, I'm going to mention this now, I'll mention it several times, Alex has made this third-party licensed, which means you can freely incorporate the core gameplay mechanics and rules presented here into your own role-playing game content. The specific wording and presentation of this material, as well as the original artwork, are reserved. Do not directly copy but you can, Alex is encouraging you to publish your own creations inspired by his system, even commercially. So if you want to make your own game using his core rules, he's more than happy with you to do that. As long as you don't steal any of his IP, any of his stuff, of course, which is cool. He has created his own Creative Commons licensing. I reckon that's really cool. So let's make a character for the Noxian Gods. Let's make a Reclaimer for the Noxian Gods, and then we can, next session, we can start exploring the wastelands. Alex provides with his character sheets, standard thing. We have quite extensive character sheets, but he also provides, which is good because all my stuff's in a box on the way to Belgium. We get hex grid sheets to actually build a map and do the exploring with. I've tried a slightly different format with the camera. I've tried a different tripod, but it's created a shadow. But at least we might be able to see the whole of the dice tray instead of that other tripod, which sort of blocks a bit of the tripod. So, Machine Gods is 3d6 6 times type system. So we'll quickly go through and we will roll stats for our Reclaimer. And then, so first off, actually, we'll approach this. So what I'm seeing this Reclaimer as is, of course, we're a solo, and we will start off solo if we get other people within our party because we encounter them due to the rolls. Awesome, just like Quackbane. But we're going to start solo. So I mean, it does weirdly have a very much a feel a bit like Corollas, the Free League, which I will be playing. Probably in, when have I got that scheduled to play? This is mainly for PO, so you know PO. November. I'll start that in November. Because October this month is Zombie Month. Apart from the days it isn't. It's basically Zombie Thursdays this month, apart from the first Thursday. But I'll do this. So, I forgot what I was saying, but anyway, stats. I'll do stats and I'll come back and I'll tell you what numbers I rolled. But I might just show the numbers so as you know I've not cheated. Right, I remembered what I was saying. That's not bad rolls, is it? 3 14s, a 9, a 10 and a 13. So what I was saying is I want this person, that they're a loner, so there are some weaknesses, we'll go through those and we'll probably pick some out so as we get some feats. I want them to be quite affinitive to technology, reasonably physically fit, but they're not really a fighter, but they've got enough that they can defend themselves in case what they come across within any of the ruins type sites that they might be trying to dig out technology from. They can get rid of some of it. A lot of them would be automated systems, but there are still creatures out here that our reclaimer needs to protect themselves from. And so I've got, quite armoured. A lot of the images are really very much knights in armour, which is really quite cool. Knights in armour with technology. Knights in armour in Black Saturn. But I've got that sort of vision of what we're going to be creating. So we have, we'll go through what the stats are. So attributes, we've got strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, willpower, and presence. Presence is basically charm, but barring that, they're all exactly as you would probably, and if you have role-played before, strength, con, dex, intelligence, willpower, wisdom, all are known to you. Presence is charisma. So what I decided on was strength being the 10, constitution a 14, dexterity a 13, intelligence a 14, willpower a 14, presence of a 9. So we've basically created somebody who will try and think their way out of a problem rather than fight their way out of a problem if possible. Right, next we have our health, defense rating and initiative. Oh, each of these have a modifier. Actually, we'll write down the modifiers. Standard type modifiers. So a 10 is a 0 modifier, a 14 is a +1, 13 is a +1, and a 9 is a 0. So we have no negative modifiers. That's quite cool. Carrying capacity is equal to your strength. That is how many item slots that you can carry. Defense rating is based on your dex modifier and your armor. So at the moment we just have a dex modifier of +1, and initiative modifier is equal to the dex modifier, which is +1. All right, next we can pick one weapon proficiency. So what do we start with? Gear we start with is our weapon, our armor, which is our choice, and 10 rations. And so it's even, so money is, so we have 500 credit units, coins, which is stored on a kifol, which is basically, because we still have technology, we still have electricity, even if the majority of the population has no comprehension of how it is made, how you generate electricity. I don't know if many people now would actually be able to make electricity if they needed to. I don't know how many people right now could make a generator, even a hand crank generator out of wire magnets. I don't know how many people could do that now, but definitely in the Noxian Empire, people are using things they have. I mean, plenty of people now use things they have no idea how it works, and that's more so in the Noxian Empire. And so even though they have these things, there is electronic money. There's basically what I would know as FPOST, or electronic fund transfer. Let's take our proficiency, our weapon proficiency, as a longsword. We can pick one weapon and armor proficiency. So we'll have a longsword. That seems to be nice standard weapon for someone in a knightly type fashion. A nice longsword on the waist to prop against when you're examining something. An armor. Now, because we only have a strength of 10, we cannot go higher than padded leather. So we're going to have padded leather. Okay, so we have our weapon and our armor proficiency. Now we need to pick a feat. Now, because like I said, I want our reclaimer to have an affinity with technology, the feat which jumped out at me instantly for that sort of image was technological lore. You are familiar with relics of the past, allowing you to have advantage on all intelligence checks to identify the purpose of a relic or an artifact. So I don't know how often it would be used, but I like the idea of that. So some of the other stuff is, I mean, it's like I build these characters and then they get into trouble. So we're going to take that feat. Now, how you roll for this game is it's all target number based. So for instance, I mean, Alex has got a couple of different systems. There is a fluctuating, a dynamic target number system. So you say if something is hard, average, easy to do, you look up the total modifier that you have to affect it, and then you get a number that you roll against. So for instance, we have an intelligence of +1. If this was a hard check, we would need to roll a 14 on a d20. So we would have to roll a d20 and get above 14. Failed. But if we have advantage, we roll 2d20 and we take the highest, a 15, which is a success. And that's basically how advantage. So we're going to take as our first feat technological law. Now we can take a drawback. In fact, we can take 2 drawbacks and get an extra 2 feats, because we can pick a feat for each drawback that we select for a maximum of 3 feats, including our free one. So the type of drawback, so the feats are, I'll just quickly go through: backstab, brawler, dual reader, explorer, frugal, hardy, healer, inheritance, keen sensitive, things like that. We have a exploration cycle where you can do a certain number of explore activities in a day. You need to consume rations. It's far less harsh than Broken Shores, but still like Broken Shores, it's a survival game. So you have to track your food, you have to consume a good amount of food. You could need to hunt. It'd be possible for you to starve out in the wastelands. Drawbacks, we can randomly roll a drawback or pick a drawback. Arrogant, clumsy, cowardly, gullible, ignorant, missing eye, mute, sickly, slow healer, slow. I mean, a simple one to take as a solo player would be mute, because we're solo. So it would mean that communicating with others, we would have to build that into the story if we encounter them, but we don't know how long that this will run for. So we might be a bit min-maxy, which I'm not often, but I can also then excuse this by saying narratively it's quite interesting to have a mute character. And if this was, as I've said multiple times before, I almost exclusively when I'm playing solo, I am thinking about, I am making a TV series or a film, or so a 90s type TV series with a character exploring a wastelands, encountering someone, to be mute. It's like we've got the Mandalorian never takes his helmet off. We have a mute character is quite interesting. I think it is also the least disadvantage. We could take a third feat and I'll roll it, but that might come out horrible. So we're just going to say that our reclaimer is mute. So we can have another feat. I'm going to go for explorer. You have an additional exploration turn per day. This affects only you, even if you're in a party with other PCs. So our reclaimer is also an explorer. I think we'll leave it at that. We won't take more drawbacks. I'll roll a drawback and then we'll see if it's rubbish. If it's rubbish, we're not taking it. 2, clumsy. Your character is awkward and prone to accidents, causing all dex related checks except combat or initiative to shift up. I mean, that does explain. I mean, our reclaimer, we've already said they're more technologically minded, they're mute. So clumsy might actually fit the character. All right, let's take clumsy. That means we're going to have to, and you'll have to pull me up. If I stop role-playing a clumsy reclaimer, you need to pull me up for it. So that means dex-related checks are shift up. So shifting up and shifting down is quite a call. This is also what you can use based on that license. You can take this mechanic where we have our target numbers, and I said a hard one would have been 14. Shift up would mean we would shift that hard rating up to a very hard. So instead of having a target of 14, that target would have been 16, and that roll with advantage would have failed because we rolled a 15. So shifting up so it's not rolling with disadvantage, it's a slight disadvantage. So the target number goes up normally by 2 as you shift up, basically. So we need to take an extra feat. Let's counteract our clumsiness to say, although clumsy, we are lucky, which means that we would make a clumsy mistake and then our innate luck would save us. Lucky means that we can re-roll any failed check once per session. There we go. So this is our mute, clumsy, but lucky technological explorer of a reclaimer. Next, we will roll our traits and motivation. So we have a whole series of traits and motivation that we can roll on, and we will do that. So we start off with, let's roll our name. We will roll our name from this table of names that Alex has provided us with. A 13 is Mervain. Mervain? Maybe. I'll look up how you say that properly afterwards. Not that Mervain is going to tell anyone what their name is. We have a background, a 3, noble house exile. So we were exiled from a noble house. Where are we from exactly? Number 1, the luminous vow of Eternus. Now we will roll a vice. This is, and it's one of the things that I was going to do. I may have. It was beginning of November. The how-to in the beginning of November is around creating compelling characters. And one of the things I was going to mention is giving your character either a interesting, not sort of vice. So we have got clumsy and mute as a sort of weaknesses, but a vice. Most people have some form of, even if it's subdued, even if it's whatever, they have a thing that they like, and that could technically be a vice. Basically, it's the thing that is used to blackmail people. So it's where, if you've ever seen any form of spy movie, it's the thing that they get people on. So what is Mervain's vice? 1, greedy. Okay, greedy is good. So greedy means that Mervain will push hard, even when it's, which is why probably lucky, even when it's time to go home. Mervain will keep pushing into a room to see if they can get something, just one thing extra out. Motivation, let's see if that fits in with this. We've got a 10. Search for missing children who were chosen. No, that doesn't fit. 20. Understand the divine language of the machine gods. That fits, why it's technological minded. So wants to understand the divine language of the machine. So machine code. Is machine code still the low level language? Because I got taught machine code when I did my A levels. So we have do we have a thing for rations? Because we've got 10 rations and we've got 500 coins. We can also purchase more starting stuff. So weapon and armor. So we have our weapon, we have our armor. Our padded shirt gives us a +2 bonus to DR, which gives us a total of +3 defense rating. You'll see how that works for dodging and getting hit when we play. It's player-centric rolls, so the opposition doesn't roll, the player rolls. So it's like Morkborg. I roll to dodge a hit, the enemy doesn't roll to hit me. So if you are DMing this, you will do very little rolls to have in a combat. The player is rolling all the time. The player will roll to hit, you will say who is attacking the player rolls to defend, and then I guess you'll roll damage. So we have like full plate armor gives a disadvantage on stealth related checks, but I was watching a thing about knights in armor and how they were capable. So apparently there was a French knight, I can't remember their name, who is recorded as could climb the underside of a siege ladder just using their hands in full plate, because they were Space Marines. Most knights during that period of time were Space Marines and would obliterate any modern combatant in their melee of choice. They basically trained since the age of 7 to ignore pain, ignore the hardship, be able to wear full plate, mount a horse without help. So all of the images of knights being lowered onto horses, they would not have been knights. They may have been a lord, but not a knight. A knight was just a powerhouse, was just basically a weapon. a killing machine, a weapon. That's all they did, a day in, day out. No breaks, no holidays, no weekends. They were training to be a killing machine. So they would be able to do forward rolls, dodge, because footwork would save your life. And so even in full plate, they were very nimble and very athletic. And so a lot of systems that have those sort of disadvantages in full plate, it wouldn't actually be an effect. Google it, look it up. You'll be surprised. And then we have our longsword, which has a D8 damage. Right, and I've just spent all of my money on a bedroll, crowbar, backpack, 5 lots of medical supplies, some thief tools, a lamp which I totaled up to a usage dice of 8, and so the system uses the same thing as it was Aliens. We have usage dice, so that's fine. Oh, and Forbidden Lands, that would decrease by 1 to a 6. That's fine. So every half hour we will roll our usage dice. If we roll 1 or a 2, it drops by die till we get to a D4, 1 or a 2, and then we're out and the torch will go out, and we have 2 spare lamp oils. So we've spent our money, we have our armor, we have our weapon, we have who we are, we know our name, we've written down our gear. We can now start exploring the Noxian Expanse in our hex crawl type manner, which we will start next week. And that's it. So that's how you would generate a character for Machine Gods of the Noxian Empire, and I will go through the exploration loop, the daily exploration loop, starting next week, and we can explore the Noxian Empire for a few sessions and see what happens to Maven. I think it's Maven, to Maven. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, do consider subscribing. There is plenty to see on the channel. Thank you so much to the Adventurers Guild for all of your support. If you would like to join the Adventurers Guild at the early doors level, you get access to all of these videos at least 3 weeks early. You get to see some additional behind the scenes stuff. When I get to Belgium, I'll be doing more behind the scenes stuff, and all of the Adventurers Guild members will get access to, I'm going to do a weekly podcast, probably just, I might do it to camera, or I might just do vocal, but I'll start doing that because I put down posts and people said they'd be interested in seeing it. So I'll see how that goes with the members, and if the members like it and people demand it, then we might release it to everyone. But at the moment, just as a members perk. The Superfan Thank You membership is supporting me and is much appreciated. You can also buy many of my books, which you can find on drive-through. And that's about it. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, you're supporting just by watching, and we will rejoin Maven, exploring the Noxian Expanse in Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse next week. See ya.